This is Steve with interprep.com, and in this video I want to show you how to use the project management tool Trello to plan for your show. Now Trello is very full-featured. It has a lot of things you don't need. It's not even really designed for radio, but it is a great tool for planning your daily show prep clocks. I personally signed up and log in with my Google account, my Gmail account, because when I get to the studio in the morning, first thing I do is I log into Gmail. And after I'm logged into Gmail, then I can quickly log into Evernote, Trello, and my personal Dropbox account. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to create a new account. Before we create any boards or show prep clocks, we want to create a new team first. We're going to call this team Morning Show. So now we have a team, and we're going to be able to share boards, share show prep clocks with our team. We need to add some members. I'm going to add a co-host. Okay, I'm adding somebody called Jane. I'm going to send Jane an invite. So I've created a user called Jane, and I've invited her to join the Morning Show team. Now we need to begin building our show prep clock. First thing I'll do is go to Boards, and I'm going to create a new board, and I'm going to call it Template. And I'm going to put it within the Morning Show. All right, so here we go. This is our template show prep clock. First thing I want to do is add Jane to this, so that way she has access to it. So Trello uses boards, which again, each board represents a different project. We're going to be using each board to represent a different day's show prep clock. Now on boards, you have lists. And on lists, you have cards. I'm going to create a list on our template show prep clock for each hour, a different list for each hour. Now that I have the 4 hours of our show, I'm going to add breaks. I'm going to go ahead and create the 6, 7, and 8 o'clock hours. Now we have the 4 hours of our show, and what we need to do now is add benchmarks, those features on the show that we have each and every day. And you can fill this out however you want, but your template needs to be the generic, stripped-down version of your show, the stuff that you do every day. So if you want to throw in some news breaks, you want to put in benchmarks, things like that, you can do that. The reason that Trello calls these cards is because what you're seeing here is the front of the card. If I click on it once, now I'm seeing the back of the card, and you can edit just the title if you want. You can add a description. People can add comments. You can attach things like images and audio. At 5:40, for example, I'm going to add something called Offbeat News. Now once you've got the basics of your template filled in, if you ever want to go back and add a card someplace in here, you can do that. You can drag them around. You can drop in a sports break, a news break. You can edit these and add colors to them if you want. You can drag them from hour to hour. But again, this is your template. This is the foundation for each and every show, and I'll explain in just a second why it is we're creating a template. So we're back to our basic show prep clock, our template, and what we want to do now is create the first day's actual clock. I'm going to go to Show menu, I'm going to click on More, and I'm going to copy this board. I'm putting the year first, the month, the date, and so when you get more and more of them, you want them to be in chronological order. After hitting enter, I've created the board, and as you can see over here, I'm on the Monday board. The first thing you want to do after creating a board, copying a board, is you want to add morning show members. We're going to add Jane here, close this out. So now we're looking at Monday's board. I'm going to star it because it's an upcoming board. Also want to go ahead and star my template board because anything that you've starred or favorited shows up at the top. And now that we have our very first show prep clock, I'm going to add one more list over here. We're going to call this whiteboard. This whiteboard is probably a lot like your studio whiteboard for your show, where when you have something you want to add, you're not exactly sure where it's going to go on the clock yet, You can add it to the whiteboard. You can keep adding it as long as you want. You can have other lists if you want, maybe one called contests where you have every contest that you do. That way there's a contest always top of mind. You can do that here. We're going to add a card to this whiteboard. We've added 5 things dads really want for Father's Day. I'm going to click on it once and I can go in and edit the description. And if I found this in InterPrep, a list in InterPrep or another show prep service or on a website, I can cut and paste the content right here. So when it's time for us to insert 5 things dads really want for Father's Day into a clock, we don't have to go hunting for the prep. All right, so I've added some content here and that's ready to go. So the reason that I created the whiteboard on the first actual show prep clock is this. When it's time to create Tuesday's clock, I'm going to come over, I'm going to click on template, I'm going to copy this and create Tuesday's clock. I'm not quite sure if June 2nd is a Tuesday or not, but it's been created. I'm going to add members, make sure Jane can see this. I'm going to star it so that way it's near the top of the stack here on the boards, maybe move it up one. After creating Tuesday's clock, I'm back on Monday's show, and toward the end of the show, I'm going to go over here to whiteboard and I'm going to move this list to Tuesday. And you can choose the position. You can put it in front of one. You can make it the number 1 position, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You can keep it at number 5. And now if we go over to Tuesday, we see that our whiteboard has been moved to Tuesday, position number 1. And you can keep adding to this. The beauty of Trello, one of the best things about Trello is that what we're seeing here and the template and other clocks, they can be viewed on any device. So when I get to the studio in the morning, I log into Trello, my co-hosts log into Trello, everybody opens up the same clock. I can see these on my smartphone if I want. So if I'm in the middle of the grocery store and this thing happens to me and I say, oh, we have got to talk about this Monday morning, I can go to the 6 o'clock hour, for example, and I can see that, oh, we've got an open break there, and I can add my grocery store story right there into the clock. Co-hosts will see it if they're looking at the clock on their smartphones, their iPads, their home computers as well. So no matter where you are, you can look at the show, you can add to the show, you can move things around if you want to. And when it's time to take something from your whiteboard and actually put it into the clock, you can click and drag it wherever you want. That way you don't have to copy and paste all of the content, comments, any attached audio or images. You can even copy this There we go. So we know we're going to do this at 5 a.m., 5:20, and then at, say, 7:40 after the daily quiz. So there you have it, the basics of using Trello to create and share show prep clocks.